Hey everyone, Brendan Snyder here. How are you? Thanks so much for joining me for another Let's Go to the Record Store experience. I am outside High Fidelity in Amityville, New York. Yes, the site of the famous Amityville horror murders that took place in 1974. So a, 50-year anniversary in 2024? Kind of interesting, but we're here for music, so we're gonna go do that. So why don't you guys come with me? Let's go inside and see what we can find today.
Oh, hey!
What's going on, man?
Oh, hey, man.
I'm here doing another Let's Go to the Record Store.
So funny.
Yeah, no, I was totally in the mood for it. Like I
Yeah.
said, Anthony, not up for it. He's got his own stuff going on at his store, and I'm sure as you're dealing with all the it's the pre-Christmas stuff.
Yeah, everybody's off from work.
Yeah, exactly.
It's been crazy.
It was busy, yeah.
Sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but I'm off.
Yeah.
So I'm able to go to record
nice.
stores. I've been off since the 16th.
Yeah.
And
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and
Good for you.
I don't go back until the 2nd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's
So,
great. That's
yeah,
a nice
so
vacation. Sure.
I woke up this morning and I was like, I haven't been to High Fidelity
A lot of
in
stuff
quite a
for you.
while.
Yeah.
Right. So,
It's been a few months.
anything new?
Yes, definitely.
Cool,
the
man.
arrival section is packed. We got a lot of bins that were made that were since you guys have been here.
How long
So
has
there's
it
a lot of
been? You
stuff there.
remember? 6 months or so? Maybe
Gosh,
longer?
I'd have to look at the video. But
I know, that's what I
probably
was
about
thinking. I was
probably
like,
about 6 months
I need
ago.
to watch the video and find out when I was
'cause
last
you put
here.
that up
But
pretty much right away.
yeah,
So
yeah.
about 6 months.
If you're a little bit
Yeah.
closer, man, I totally come all
I
the
know,
time.
yeah,
I love it
yeah,
here.
You're Jersey bound, right?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah,
So
uh-huh.
this is an hour and a half drive.
Yeah,
Which
sure.
isn't bad.
Yeah, no, not
you
at
know.
all.
But
Yeah.
I've got to have the day
Yeah, now when
off.
you get
And
people from Greece and Italy.
Oh, I know.
They're coming from a long while.
that's cool
Yeah,
though.
yeah,
So do you have
yeah.
people flying in and stuff
Oh,
like that?
yeah, Japan.
Anthony has that at
Canada,
his
yeah,
store.
sure, yeah,
A
sure.
lot of that has come from the videos that I've made, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
They watch Anthony and I on the channel, and then they
Yeah.
decide to come over. Somebody from Tennessee just drove
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
way up to hit his store, and he's had
Wow.
people from
Yeah, great.
Germany, Canada,
Excellent. Yeah, sure,
England.
Because of your video?
Because of my videos.
That's incredible.
They come over and
Yeah.
they
I have had new people
Yeah.
come in because they know you. Oh, yeah,
Very
you have a
cool.
good channel.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
sure.
I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Thanks.
Well, I'm going to go check some
Yeah.
stuff out, but
Yeah.
thanks for having me again.
Of course. Welcome.
Man, guys, look at this place. It just keeps going and going, whether you're looking for DVDs or CDs, or I think they got cassettes and stuff. And I know there's records around here too. You got to scoot through all of this sort of stuff. We've got more records, CDs, DVDs, and it just keeps going and going. One of my favorite places to go. Look at this section here. This is where we are going to start. We're going to get right into some new arrivals. All right, guys, so I'm over here in the new arrival section. Look how large this thing is. And then there's drawers below it here. I can't wait to dive into it. It's always my favorite part to go through new arrivals because it's definitely stuff that I didn't see the last time I was here. And of course, you never know what you're going to find within it. So I like to just start in the beginning and just go all the way through. There's a cool Aerosmith album, Night in the Ruts, that doesn't really get enough love and attention. This one here I still think is a pretty darn good album, even though it came after all their classic stuff. Here's Animal Bag. This was their debut full-length album. They do have an EP. Came out in 1992 and kind of ran under the radar. It was not quite part of the glam metal scene and not quite part of the grunge scene. There's this very short-lived period that some cool rock bands popped up in, like post-91, but pre-93, like that 2-year era. Animal Bag was one of them. I definitely recommend checking them out. Some classic Annihilator, Alice in Hell. I love these old albums, Road Racer records, the originals, not the reissues and stuff. These are the ones that I like to find if I can get a hold of them. Here's a cool one, Army of Anyone. You've got the 3 guys from Stone Temple Pilots minus frontman Scott Weiland, and then you've got Patrick, I forget his last name, but he's from Filter, and he joins in here to create Army of Anyone, which was a very cool album, but they only did the one, and then everybody kind of went back and reformed their original bands. Some classic Black Sabbath, Mob Rules, Ronnie James Dio fronting the lineup here. One of my favorites, actually. I like this one a lot better than some of the other albums, I guess maybe because a lot of this stuff isn't overplayed. Turn Up the Night is an awesome song. I love Sign of the Southern Cross. It's just killer. Lots and lots of good stuff on this. I'm a fan of all the eras of Black Sabbath. One of the less popular Bon Jovi albums, 7800 Degrees Fahrenheit. I always liked it. It's a little heavier than the debut. They haven't quite found the sound on Slippery When Wet. But this one here, when I want to listen to Bon Jovi that isn't worn out, I always go back to this album, 7800 Degrees Fahrenheit, which is the temperature at which rock will melt. Just recently bought this one because I had not seen a jewel case version of this in the wild, and love this album. I had a promo copy, so I was replacing it with the jewel case. And of course, you know, whenever that happens, you've been hunting and hunting and hunting for something, and then you find it. As soon as you go to the next record store, they've got one for you. Very underrated glam metal band, Baton Rouge, Shake Your Soul. Opening track on here, Doctor Walks Like a Woman. Those were pretty popular songs off here. If you're looking for some more cool, underrated glam metal, Baton Rouge, Shake Your Soul. Killer Don Dawkins solo album, Up From the Ashes. Had the awesome John Norum on lead guitar for this one. Man, having some good finds today. Fair Warning, Early Warnings, 92 to 95. Some type of best of. Don't know if this is promo only or something that was out, but definitely interested in stuff like this. Got some classic Flotsam and Jetsam here, When the Storm Comes Down. Great band that doesn't really get enough love in the thrash world, but they should. Finding lots of killer late 80s, early 90s. This is 92. Kiss of the Gypsy was the band, but some killer rock from that era. This stuff here kind of in the whole glam metal sounding thing, but just a little bit more outside of that range in the world of rock. But lots of cool finds today. Well, Crocus is back. Just found out frontman was talking about it, Mark Stoichi. And I guess we're going to be hearing some of this stuff. So Crocus Headhunter is a classic album. Let's get started with it. One of my favorite newer bands, Lucifer, featuring the frontman from Helicopters, but he is playing drums. So Nicky Anderson, they're on the right-hand side. So I found both these LA Guns albums here. Of course, we have the classic Cocked and Loaded, and then the night and day different sounding American hardcore when the band had really changed its sound, trying to modernize and be part of the 90s, but nothing will ever beat this, man. The classic Cocked and Loaded with Phil Lewis fronting. So glad that Tracy Guns and Phil Lewis are back together. Well, this one is a rare one you don't see often. Loud House, called For Crying Out Loud. It's got three members that would go on to create Sponge, including frontman Vinny Dombrowski, who plays drums on this album. So it's got the guitarist, the bass player, and the drummer, but the drummer becomes the vocalist in Sponge. It's a very cool album, but of course I prefer Sponge. Here's a really cool find today, the debut Master Plan album that features Jorn singing, and of course the band has Roland Gropow, who was from Halloween, and I was pulling this stuff out listening to it last night, but I somewhere along the way got rid of my Master Plan and only had some of their later stuff, so I'm really glad to find this one here today. Here's a really cool find. Scott Mosher, Inferno. Scott Mosher was a guitar player in Oceans of Night. He's worked with Scott Oliva from Inner Strength, and really have been getting into, well, both of their works, but Scott Mosher's guitar playing in particular is absolutely outstanding. And the last solo album that I got from him was just phenomenal. So super glad to find this one here, and I can't wait to send him a text and let him know that I found this here at High Fidelity. All right, guys, so I've been here about an hour. I'm about halfway through the new releases because I got to go through it all, but I'm already 12 albums in. I've got a nice stack going here. I have no idea how many more I'm going to find today, but I've already found some really killer stuff. Super, super good day. Having a lot of fun here at High Fidelity. Nelson's debut album, After the Rain. These guys got made fun of a lot for their, pretty boy looks, but I still really liked the sort of AOR melodic rock sound that was this band. And these guys are still going. They've had some success in other areas, in the country area, and writing for other people. But the band's still going. These two guys, I don't know why this is upside down. We'll flip that right around like that for you guys. But there you go, Nelson. And this one here I don't see very often, No Sweat. I think they were a British band, kind of AOR melodic rock, tail end of glam metal, not quite fitting in any one genre. But I remember getting a free cassette of theirs as a sort of trial, tested out, I guess a promo, if you will. And I really enjoyed it, and one day eventually I bought the full-length album, and I still have it to this day. Definitely my favorite Poison album, Flesh and Blood. This one here, not the first one I got. I actually got the album before this. I had that on cassette, but this one here, just from start to finish, is so good. So even though I said Flesh and Blood is my favorite, this one here, Native Tongue, which has Richie Kotzen on it, and is wildly different than Flesh and Tongue. This one here is so good. From start to finish, I probably actually grab this one more because it's not worn out, but opening track, the scream, Stand, of course, Stay Alive, Till You Suffer Some Fire and Ice, it's just all really good music. Here's a cool find, Raven, Raw Tracks. I've never seen this one. I'm gonna have to check this one out, see what it is. People are always talking to me about death metal and stuff. I've never quite gotten into it. About the heaviest I go are bands like this, like Sepultura and Slayer. But this album here, from Sepultura, Arise, one of the classics. Smashing Pumpkins, Oceana. It's one of my favorite later day era albums. The Celestials, such a great song on here. If you never checked that one out, but you're a Smashing Pumpkins fan, you've got to go listen to that song. It is so good. This is my favorite Testament album, Souls of Black. It's not the first one I bought. I actually bought Practice What You Preach, but at the time that I bought that, I just was not into it very much. Later on, getting this one here totally changed my mind. This is an interesting one here. Tipton, Entwistle, and Powell, Edge of the World. An album that was made, I don't know, early 90s, but didn't get released. The record label didn't like it. They wanted some newer blood, so he went in and he made the album that got released. I think it was called Hardcore. This one here was what should have come out, and with those three guys, what a powerful lineup. Here's the Glenn Tipton album, Baptism of Fire. This is the one I was talking about, not Hardcore. The opening track is Hardcore, but this is the album that it became. It grew into Baptism of Fire. Andy Timmons band. Andy Timmons was the guitar player in Danger Danger. He's done a lot of work with Kip Winger too, and his solo stuff. But here's an album, a solo album by Andy Timmons band. You're right, Sonic Origami. Later day era album, 98. So, I mean, you know, it's now been, what, 25, 26 years since then. But Uriah's always putting out good material, and this is one of the ones that I liked from their later day era. Holy fuck, guys, look at this. War Babies Vault. Is this stuff rated from Brad Sinsel's vault for an album? How cool is this? Didn't even know this was out or happening. It is a 2024 release. Got a CD bonus track, but man, I love War Babies. I've always wanted more from them, and this here is the absolute score today. All right, heading over to the A's, and it looks like there's been a little accident here in the cassette, so I'm going to be digging through all of this as I begin to move my way on down. So while digging through some of these cassettes, I found Nelson's After the Rain as a single in here, and then also Kingdom Come. So some good stuff in here. You never know what you're going to find when you're digging through things. This is a cool one here, Blackthorn Afterlife, that's got Graham Bonnet singing on it. It's got also Bob Kulick, brother of Bruce Kulick. A great album. All right, guys, we have aisles and aisles of CDs, but here's what's kind of crazy. I was looking through these and I was pulling some out and I was like, what is this stuff that's underneath that's supporting them? They've got 8 tracks supporting all of these CDs here. Just tons of these things. It's crazy. Here's an interesting one. I just grabbed this one, Private Life. And if you look at the back, who's producing? Edward Van Halen and Ted Templeman, Warner Brothers. Not familiar with this group, quite sure they don't sound like Van Halen, but at the same time, I'm really curious who these two people would produce and stand behind. So I think I'm checking this one out today. All right, so I'm nearly done. I'm in the R's, but I've already got 27 CDs. That stack right there is all mine. It's going home with me today.
It's so easy.
Wow, a sealed copy of Tall Stories. This is the one that has Steve Algieri, who sang with Journey for a period of time. $4.99, what a good deal on this one.
Oh, it's 141 Merrick Road in the record store.
Credit, cash, same.
So how cool was that? That was High Fidelity in Amityville, New York. Always have a good time there. I find super amounts of stuff. Look at this pile here. I think it's 32 CDs. Very good deals on all of this stuff. Some of it brand new to me. Some of it doing what I normally do, you know, fleshing out a catalog, that kind of stuff. So let's go through and see the massive stack that I got from there. Been into some power metal, filling out my Halloween catalog, and I needed this EP, the I Went Out Live EP. I found some cool promo copies of things in these cardboard sleeves. I'm gonna try Magellan. I don't own anything by them, so I'm looking forward to that. I got a little bit of Flower Kings in the collection, but not a lot, so I'm gonna try that album. Russell Allen solo album or project Atomic Soul from Sons of Apollo. OSI, it's got some Dream Theater and I think Fate's Warning guys mixed in there. Hammerfall said I was doing the power metal thing. And Spock's Beard, do enjoy them, so more progressive stuff. These two things here I know are bootlegs, although they're highly done. And I like these sort of things. I've got them from some other artists, but I picked up a Steve Vai and a ZZ Top greatest hits, 2-disc greatest hits set. And whenever they put them together, you know, they do them. It says favored nations. We know it's not really. And, you know, American Recordings, I think that was the last label they were on. They've not been on that label. But the way that this stuff is sequenced and mastered, it sounds like it's all done professionally, and I really enjoy it. And the song selections are not your typical stuff, and they go all the way from the beginning to the end, and they don't leave stuff out like typical greatest hits that are done by one record label and stuff like that. So I picked these two things up. I've got 3 or 4 other ones, one from David Gilmour, one from Robert Plant. I got Bryan Adams. And I forget, I know I have, AC/DC. So I've got those 4, so I'm looking forward to adding these to it. If I come across more, I'll probably be picking those up. Some instrumental guitar shred from Alex Mossy. You saw this one in the video, the Fates Warning, Early Warnings, 92 to 95. The Richie Kotzen, I think I showed you guys. This was the big one for me of the day. If I hadn't found anything else, this would be it. The War Babies Volt album, sealed. You know, like I said, I don't know anything about it. I know that they were talking about putting some stuff out and getting back together and even recording new, but I never heard anything actually come of it. So to just randomly find this, very, very cool. This is my big score for the day. I picked up 2 Master Plan albums, both of these with Jorn singing. He's the whole reason that I'm interested in that, but also because of Roland Gropow. And again, that whole tie into the power metal thing that I'm currently digging right now. Yngwie Malmsteen, and this one here, Alchemy, did not have this one. It's got Mark Bowles singing. A group called Thunderhead that I know a little bit about. And this is a collection called Ballads 88 to 95, but it's got some new stuff on it. And it was just one of those ones that, you know, I took a look at those guys, the picture right there, and I said, this is definitely a group of guys that I want to know more about. I found a Bonfire, Hot and Slow, so this is also like a best of ballads type thing. Found this, 1989 Gun, their debut album. This was really cool to find this. Been getting back into them due to their more recent, newer albums that have been coming out, but I did not have that one. Found a Praying Mantis album I didn't have, so I get to add that one, New Wave of British Heavy Metal. Damage, I think is how you say this. This is on the Dive Bomb label. I think this is stuff that never got released that they've now collected and they're putting out, but it's from 91 to 93, and it definitely sounds like, you know, stuff that's right up my alley. Talked about this one in the video, Private Life. I'm looking forward to checking it out and seeing what it is that Eddie Van Halen and Ted Templeman did in production. Found this one here, a Ronnie Montrose solo album on the No Speak label, which I've been collecting all of their things, and that was on the IRS label. And unfortunately, this has got some rips and tears. It's not in the best condition, but I've never seen this one, and to get it, it's like $100. So it was one of those things that finding it for this, I'll take it, and then when I find a better copy, I will replace it. I showed you guys this Scott Mosher album, but I found another one while I was there. So I get 2 Scott Mosher albums to add in. This one here, I've got the 2-disc deluxe edition of it. It's an REM collection of their early years, but I wanted a jewel case of just a single disc version, so I added that. Funny thing is, I have a CD single of this James Iha album, but I didn't have the full-length album, and so Guitar Player of Smashing Pumpkins solo album. I found a Paw album that I did not have their second one. I have the first one, but the second one has been hard to come by. I found 2 Chris Mars solo albums. In fact, the last 2 that I didn't have. So Chris Mars being from The Replacements. I decided to go ahead and take a chance on this, Wire Train, just some good jangly pop stuff that I heard, and Golden Smog because they've got the guitar player from Soul Asylum in there amongst other people. But all in all, man, I found some really cool stuff, and I had a great time today. So big shout out to High Fidelity, who always treats me right when I go in there. I have a great time. They have just massive amounts of stuff. And as you saw, I spent 4 hours in there, and I just went through the CDs, and I didn't even make it through all of them. There was just mountains more than I could have gone through. And on another visit, I'll probably do the vinyl, but it was a CD day, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. All right, everyone, take care, have a good one, and I'll talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.